Hey, good morning. Welcome back to Freedom Algo, everybody. I'm still charting this out here to see if we have a wider down channel. Give me a second here. Hopefully everyone's having a great day. Good to be back after a short little trip. So I'm going to draw this a couple of ways just to show this here. I'm going to draw it there. Then I'm going to draw a wider down channel because it does appear that we could have just an overall wider channel that's playing out here. Probably something like that. We'll find out. I just got back from taking a walk, so I've got to give it a second here. All right, let's see here. We're going to put this up. If you're in the chat, let me know where you're watching from. Let me know. All right, we're going to put this up here. There we go. I haven't marked off any trades in here because I was away from the computer for a few, but I can mark those. Hey, Jacoby, good to see you. Just looking here, waiting to see what sets up here. So it looks like you could argue for this. It's a little dicey. Yeah, for sure, Jacoby. I mean, that's the thing that's tough, right? Like the East Coast, you have to trade a little bit later in the day. I know that it's nice being on the West side because being on the West Coast allows me to just be pretty much done. Like it's only 8:35 right now. Oh, nice. Matt's here. Matt's here. Matt's already trying to. Good to see you, Matt. Good to see you. I need to make sure everything's working. Oh, is the mic weird? Oh, you know what? Let me fix that. My bad. I know what's going on there. Hold on one second. All right, is that better? Hang on, I'm gonna fix it. Hold on a second. Hold on. All right, I think it should be better now. How's that sounding, guys? Sorry about that, everybody. I had a it was because I was traveling. I was trying to fix everything before the stream. It's because when I was traveling, I had to change a bunch of settings. So I think we're good now. My bad, everybody. My bad. But it should be all good now, hopefully. Hey, good to see you, Daryl. Good to see you, Project Panic. Good morning, everybody. Howard, I don't know what you're... oh, Howard, you're in the wrong... What do you mean wrong account? I don't know what you mean. All right, let's see here. So we're going to pull this over. So I do think that we probably have a wider down channel here after coming out and failing to break out of the top side of the range. So there are some setups that look like they might be forming here. You have this close outside new high. This is a lower high, but I don't necessarily think you want to take this all the way into the low like that. So we'll go look at the trades here. Give it a second here. Let's get some more likes going. We are going to try to go for, well, we'll go for 50 likes. We'll go for 50 likes today. So we're going for 50 likes. Subscriber target. Well, we already have 53.97. So let's go for, we're going to go for 54.05. So if we get to 54.05 subscribers, that'll be the goal for the stream. So that's just 8 more subscribers. likes, we'll try to go for 50. So if you're here, definitely give the stream a like. If you haven't subscribed, definitely do that. And we'll start going through the trades now. All right, let's see here. So right here, we kind of have this upper area when I came in this morning, and then it dumped during the news release. I forgot to draw a little thing here. Where is it? We'll draw this on here. This was kind of like that early morning news release right here. I'd say you probably wanted to be out for a few minutes at least, something like that. There you go. So this is that early morning news release. Now you could look at this as a pullback first entry and then pullback second entry long. I mean, you actually could look at that as a second entry long and then a higher low. I ended up not marking this. I wasn't at the chart yet when this all happened. I think it's a little risky to take this, but it's pretty close to that news, and you are kind of picking a bottom there. Like, you don't have any real confirmations. Like, you're way down here picking a bottom if you take a long there. I do think, and then the higher low wasn't very good. If someone took this, it's definitely risky. It's definitely risky to take a trade right there. But if you did, there's some reasons to like it. You have this new high, you have a pullback, you have a first entry, pullback, second entry long. And it's kind of interesting because you have this one and it doesn't make a new high above this. So it almost looks like the close outside new low and then one more leg to a new low. So there's a few reasons to like a trade there. I just didn't mark it earlier because I was like, it's a little dicey to take it. But you could look at this as a second entry long and two legs to a new low after the close outside of this little channel. But I think it's risky. So just want to be clear about that. It is a risky trade. So you have to know that. These will generally get you in trouble, picking bottoms and stuff like that. But if you understand the trend line rules, then you know that the trend line has played out. It would have been a little better if this was a nice higher low, but it's just too bearish. But it ends up working as a pretty decent little trade. It also looks like it's going to trap some shorts here, the way that this thing almost engulfs this bar. So there's some reasons to like it. Then it comes up, and I drew this two ways. So I had this little trend, close outside, new high, but then I drew a wider channel here as a possibility. It ended up just turning into a little range for a while. So I don't think you want to short this yet. I think you need a lower high there to really be confident here. I don't think you want to take this candle right here, even though it's a close outside new high. It's a first entry, second entry, third entry, like fourth entry basically. It's not really any sort of setup that we would look for. And so I don't think you want to take that. You need a lower high here, and it doesn't happen. And then it comes down and gives you a first entry and then a second entry long right here. And this is also a triple test off the lows. So you see 1, 2, 3 triple test. So there's some reasons to like going long here. I don't love this doji on the inside. This is an inside bar of this big red bar. So this is a little congested. It's not ideal. But when you see that you've bounced there now 3 times and it's kind of like a little higher low, and also this little wider channel, we might need a new high here. There's some reasons to like a long there. I don't think it's ideal, but it's there. It comes up and then comes back down and gives you another test here. So you have another triple test here. You can see 1, 2, 3, fourth test. But the candle was too big to go long. If this candle closed maybe right here, then I probably would have wanted to take a long there. But it just didn't. It closed way near the highs of the range, and you can't long right there. So then it comes up. You get this close outside, equal high, and then it fails to break out. So you get a failed breakout here. I think you're early, though, if you go short. I think it's a little early. And so I think you need a better confirmation. I don't think you want to just go short right there. There's just not enough confirmations here, like if this is actually the range high. So I didn't love going short there, so I just skipped it. And then it comes down, and it gives you this second entry short. So you have this new low. First entry, second entry short. It's also a lower high after this failed breakout. Now, usually I'd say the lower high, it's moved too far to take it as a lower high. But because it's gone down and you have this little down channel that might get a new low, and you have room to the lows of the range here, it's looking pretty favorable. So you end up getting a second entry short lower high after failed break. There's a few, because it's both of those things, then I like it a little more. And you can see here, if you measure this from the low of the candle to this low, there's 2.25 points there. It doesn't look like it, but it's there. And so what that means is that you have plenty of room to get a scalp. Like even if you're going for like 6 ticks at this point of the day, you would have still had room to get your scalp. And it does make the new low. That's all it really gives, but it ends up being a decent one. Then we end up sideways here, and we get this one that actually goes, so you actually have a first entry. There's kind of a second entry long in here, but it's all inside bars. But then this one breaks lower and goes here, so it's kind of like a bigger second entry long, like a two-legged pullback. But it's not one that you'd take again. It does go up. I don't think you want to mess with this. It does look like a trap, but I don't think you want to mess with it. So then we come up. We get all these equal highs, and we get this kind of resistance here. Here, let me draw a line here just to show. There's kind of some resistance in here. You could probably even just draw it like that. At the time, you would have had it probably right here off of these closes right there and right there. So I'll show you this trade because I did take this one. So we come down, we break out of this area of this close right here. You see this blue line. Now, I was drawing a few different trend lines here. So let me actually zoom out real quick to show this. This was originally a trend line that I drew off of this low connecting to here. And this is this shorter one that I'm playing right here. But then, and this looked like an overshoot and then came out the bottom and then made a new high. But I drew the wider trend line that started a little bit further back over here as a possibility. But we hadn't come back to it yet. So I just want you to understand why there's two channels here. Now what I did was right here, off that original channel that I had drawn, we get this touch here, confirmation here, and then a third confirmation here. This third, well actually we get a third touch here to confirm, but then we get this one that gives us a nice one, like confirmation. And so what I looked at here was we got this new high. So this little channel had played out, we got a new high there. But then we get a pullback, and we get a first entry, and then a pullback, and a second entry. And this is pretty much like a really nice looking two-legged pullback. If you draw this even measured moves, you can see it's exactly two-legged measured move pullback. Like new high, pullback, first entry, pullback exactly to the tick with a second entry. That's a nice one. And this one I took but didn't, sorry, I should rephrase. I took this trade but it didn't work. Sorry, I meant to clarify that. I took this trade, so I guess technically I didn't take the trade. I tried to take the trade is what I meant. I dropped my order and it went off without me. And it was annoying because I really wanted it. The second entry I did get was this one. So my apologies there. But this one right here, I tried to take this and it didn't fill my order. And the reason it didn't fill my order is because if you look at this candle here, this only happens occasionally. Basically, this candle closed and then when the next one opened, it immediately took off. So when I tried to drop my order one tick above this bar, it had already gone. So it's like as soon as this bar closed, I dropped my order and it just gave me an error message. And so I just didn't get it. Unfortunately, because that was like a pretty sweet trade. And you can see you literally would have had zero heat. It didn't even come back against you. It just immediately went up. So that was a second entry long. It's a triple test. One test there, second, third test. And an exactly two-legged pullback here. Closes above the EMA, gives you a nice little move. You get a higher low here, but you can't take that because at this point you're at the resistance. And it closes right at the resistance. So you don't want to take that. Even though there's some room to the top of these wicks, I just think that's super risky. So even though there's a higher low, and also this has already played out. So it makes the new high. So now this would just be a first entry. Because it makes the new high there. So the second entry already played out. You can't take this higher low. It runs into this tight channel up, and then you get a close outside of the top of this channel. So I looked at this like an overshoot because this, by the way, this channel moved on me. I had it drawn. Whoops. I think it moved on me a little bit. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It closed out the top. You get this equal high and a close outside. So you could say this tight channel has played out, but also this is an overshoot of the channel that we were playing, which ends right here. It shoots down and gives us a first entry. And then it gives us a second entry, but you can't take it because you get an inside bar, so it doesn't trigger until this one, and you have an inside bar, and you can't take those. It's too risky. So even though it does come off this area, I was hoping that we'd get a nice higher low here, but you get the equal low, so you could treat this like the higher low, but at that point it's moved way too far to take it. So just no trade right there, unfortunately. But at this point, it does confirm the wider trend line, which also moved on me slightly, but it doesn't really matter. I can fix it. They always try to move on me. It's basically like that. All right. So you got this one now from the wider part right here. Close right there. Touch here. And now you're playing this trend line. So now you come up to the next trade, the one that I did take, which is right here. It's the same, basically the same setup as this one in a way. So you can see like this one was a tight channel. There's a new high, but then it's pulled 2 legs back and then giving you the second entry long off of the key entry point, right? So that's what this setup was back here. But this one is basically the same thing. So tight channel came up. Eventually you do get a new high right here on this, and you get a new high overall. And you do have to be aware of the fact that after an overshoot, you still will likely go back and make the new high on the original channel. But because this wider channel was in play and this one came right off of it, and it looks like another, like basically the same pattern, a pullback, 2-legged pullback to the key entry point. I really liked this one. It was a, weird. It says 8 tick, but I refreshed my data. I thought it was a 9 tick bar originally, but it says 8 tick now. I don't know. That's weird. I refreshed my data when I came back from the walk, so maybe it switched by a tick. But what ended up happening here was pullback first entry, pullback second entry long. I took this trade. It did fill me 1 tick in the wrong spot. So I dropped my order like I always do, 1 tick above the bar like this, but it ended up filling like 2 ticks above the bar. So it actually filled in slightly the wrong spot, which is fine. I still kept my stop loss 1 tick below the bar as you would. And then I scalped 5 ticks on it, and that was a nice trade. It ends up not giving much more. This one ends up opening, and then it goes up, and then this one comes back. There is a higher low, but the reason I marked this higher low green is that if you measure from here to this resistance, it's only 1.25 points. So it's not really enough room to get a scalp unless it's going to go through, which it's probably going to go through like it has, but you don't know for sure. So I just think it's a little bit risky to go long there on the higher low. It's also already moved pretty far. If you measure from the top of this bar to here, it's already gone 2 points. So, and really where you'd be entering is 2.25 points from where it already went. So I just think that it's dicey to go long there, but it's there. And I know some people in the paid community did that, but just be careful with those. This one comes down and gives a hidden second entry long and a triple test, but I just don't think the signal bar is very great. And I think you need like a higher low here or something. So we just got to skip that one. But it is a close outside of the channel and then another move to a new high. And then it keeps going. So you get this move to a new high, closes outside, and you get 2 more legs up, and then it reverses. And it's a failed breakout here. I don't think you want to take anything in here. You don't want to take this as a failure because everything is already played out. So you just have to sit patiently here and just wait. Eventually, I did take this trade. And by the way, everybody, if you're here, please give the stream a like. Let's get it out to more people. We only got 11 likes right now. We're trying to go for 50, but it's a little slow going right now with 11. So let's get some more likes going. We're trying to get 8 more subscribers, too, to get to 5405. And I think if we go in here, I think I took a screenshot of this one. Let me check. I'm pretty sure I took a screenshot of this because I did take this short, and I think I got my screenshot off in time. Yeah, I did right here. This was when I got to my runner. So I took the trade. It filled me. It moved my runner to break even. At this point, I was going for 4 ticks, not 5, because the ATR had dropped. So I scalped 4 ticks on 8 contracts, and then my runner of 2 contracts moved to break even. It ended up stopping my runner out at break even, which is fine. I was originally going to try to go for some of these lows down here, but it didn't end up happening. And that's going to happen from time to time. And by the way, like if you want to learn more about this, it's right in here in the link tree. It's also in the description. And this is where you can learn more about my membership. It's $99 a month. It's everything in there. You can see throughout the session, you can see 33 posts in here, because throughout the session, I post these before the live stream, like all the chart updates. You know, we're discussing the market as it's progressing. And you get access to a premium section of Discord where we talk about everything. So that's all in here. And then also you get access to the calendar. Today we're doing a masterclass. So right after the stream today, in a little over an hour, we're going to do a masterclass on trend channels and trend lines. So if you want to join this, you just have to join the paid community, and then you can join this. And there's a Zoom link to join this live. So definitely check that out. You have about an hour to join, and then you can come to the masterclass. I also will post everything in here, and you can see this will probably get this masterclass is going to be good, so it's going to get added to the trading course, and also the weekly Zoom call recordings. Sometimes the Zoom call recordings each week are just us having Q&A, but what I'm doing today is more of a masterclass, and I've done one of these before. A few weeks ago I did one. So we're going to do a trend line masterclass today, so definitely check that all out. It's all in the description to join. Oops. And you can see that here. You can see everything else, the free resources, the free Discord. You can go to YouTube and you can check out my free course in the videos. I got a 4-hour course right here. That's actual sections from my paid course. You can also see the NinjaTrader setup guide. It's a free guide on how to set up the free version of NinjaTrader. So there you go. All right, check this out. Hey, good morning, Traderator. Good morning, Jackie. Good to see you. Good to see both of you. All right. So I took this trap. So basically what this is, let me try to talk about this. This is a more advanced trade. So we had this tight channel coming down. I drew off of this close, and this is not really a close outside. You can see this closes inside, this closes inside. I thought that there might be a little wider channel, right? And basically what you have here is this new high, and you have a pullback, first entry long, pullback, second entry long on the higher low. A lot of people are trying to go long here, thinking that we're going to go make a new all-time high. The all-time high is this white line up here. That's what everyone's thinking there. So a lot of people went long on this and then on the higher low. Now they're stuck in this trade, thinking that they're going to get a ride all the way back to the top. But they're below the EMA, the 21 EMA. They're below that. Now the thing is, this blue line is kind of like a support. You can see we kind of bounced here, we kind of bounced here, we kind of bounced here. So there's a first entry, second entry short here as well. And all these people who went short are stuck going short. So you kind of have people stuck in both directions here. You have people who went long, and all their stop losses are right here. This is where all their stop losses are for the people who went long, below this signal bar, right? Either at or below the signal bar, which is also yesterday's close, this dotted brown line. It's yesterday's close. So all these people who went long, they thought that we were getting a touch of yesterday's close and that we were going to go to a new high. That's what they thought. This is me speculating on what they probably thought, by the way. Like, I don't know for sure. I'm just giving you my opinion of what this trap is. So then they go in. It's a first entry long, second entry long. So both of the people went long here, and then the higher low, they went long again, or they added on or whatever. And all their stop losses are here. So they're all long. Then the people who went short, some people went short below this bar. And then some people are adding on to shorts below this bar. And they're kind of stuck short right here. Now, it does come up. And you can see the shorts are pretty protected. Because if you look at the shorts, their stop losses are going to be up here at this level and this level. And you can see it doesn't go to either one. So this level misses the other one. And then this level misses it. So I saw this as like a trap. So basically it's a first entry, second entry short with a lower high. But it's very congested sideways, right? It's very congested sideways. But because it closed below this level, my thinking here was this thing is going to dump through all these people's stop losses. Even if it goes higher here, it's going to stop out all these longs. That was what I was thinking here. It was like a trap. Like the longs were trapped. And you can see that it went here. This low high was lower than this high. And then this high was lower than this high again. And we're still in a bearish trend. It's closing within the channel and within a wider channel. So I'm thinking that this is just going to get swept out. and all these people are going to get stopped. And that's exactly what it does. It runs through all their stops. It moves exactly 1.5 points, which is what you need for a 4-tick scalp. So it went right through, and pretty nice one. So that's a nice little trap. Hopefully that made sense to everybody. It's advanced, and it's not something that most people should be taking. So I just want you to know, like, I've seen this setup before, though, when people are trying to ride it to a new all-time high and they're just totally trapped. So then it comes down and we get the close outside and the new low right here, but then it keeps going lower. So when it keeps going lower here, this is when I thought, okay, there's probably a wider channel. Now, there's no trade here because it's just a first entry short, and then it just keeps going. And now we're down here. Now there is a possible setup here. It's way more advanced too, because you have this little uptrend close outside new high. And it is coming off this level that you could say is possibly a key entry point. But I just think it's a little bit dicey to take this one, because you don't know for sure if that really is the key entry point. Like, it could be that this was the trend and this is the close outside new low. You know, this is dicey because we've already made a close outside new low. And so I just think it's a little bit of a tricky one. And I'll be right back. Just give me like 2 seconds. All right, I am back. Hey, Daryl, yeah, I mean, that's for sure. That's the thing. Like, you know, you got to be careful in those zones. Definitely got to be careful in those zones. Okay, so then here, this came down. Now, I think that this is a close outside and a new high. I don't think you want to look at this like a first entry. It's like a third entry. The thing I didn't mark this one because this is set up after, but you can see that this is basically 2 legs back. So if you took a trade here, you know, it's not exactly wrong. It's just, it's a little bit, this is one of those visual second entry shorts. Basically, it's a visual 2-legged pullback is what this is. So it's not ideal, but it's there. I think a lower high is better, but the lower high is all the way down here, and at this point it's gone too far. Now it comes down. I think that's probably the correct channel, like that, if this is a wider channel. But it doesn't really matter because really this is a big 1, 2 legs down. I don't think this is going to go... I don't necessarily know if this is going to go lower or not right here because we're now kind of back to the midline of the range from earlier. And we need to draw some trends here because now we're in real time and I haven't drawn this yet. So let me go up here. I would draw this like that. And then see this as a close outside, move to a new high, and now that has all played out. So it's possible, if this was within the trend, it's possible we could get a new low on this bigger move. We'll see. Ultimate Shinobi, good to have you here. I think it's possible. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's possible because it's possible that this downtrend was actually like that, and and that this is the close outside. Very possible. It's hard to know for sure. It looks like it might do that. Like, this is how I had it drawn originally. It was like this. Here, I'll draw it back to how it was. I had it drawn originally like this through there. And this would be like a close outside sort of thing. But again, it's hard to say for sure. It's hard to say for sure. And there is a failure here, but I don't think you want to take that failure. I just think it's too risky right here. But this is played out, so we might get a new low here. I would say that the most likely scenario here is a new low on that downtrend. But you can't guarantee it yet because this is a range day. We do want to draw a steeper channel there. It looks to me like it's going to try to make a new low here. And then what it will probably do if it does that is either find support around today's opening price where we had some support earlier, or like in this zone. I don't know that we'll come all the way down to the lows, but we'll see. All right, let me zoom back in and see if there's any setups that I missed. I don't think that I did, but I mean, yeah, that's not a good signal bar. This is a lower high. There is a first entry there. So we'll see right now what happens. I would draw a little level here as a possible support, just in case we do come down, that there's some possible support there. Just in case we form some kind of a range. All right. Yeah, for sure, for sure. As always, man. Good to have you here, by the way. Good to have you here. Everybody here, please give the stream a like if you haven't already. And definitely subscribe. And looking forward to the masterclass today. I really hoping that we get a bunch of people joining the masterclass. Should be a really good one, talking about trend lines. And today we had some amazing price action. So I'm going to go over all the trend lines of today in way more depth in the masterclass, and like what it all means and how you can make sense of it and how it can help you in your trading. Because that's like the key. The key to what I do is definitely the trend lines. The trend lines are the most important thing in my trading. I mean, obviously the candlesticks and whatnot, but the trend lines themselves are like one of the most important things in my trading. So I want to make sure that we cover it in depth, because no matter what type of day we're having, if it's a trend day, a range day, the trend lines are still the most important thing in the trading, even with range days. All right. If you got questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. And sorry about the microphone issue earlier. I was all messed up when I started the stream, because when I did the stream on Tuesday, I was traveling, and I didn't do a stream yesterday because I was traveling. But on Tuesday, I was like doing it from the hotel, and basically it was like all wonky with the. I had to use a different. I didn't bring like a certain mic. I didn't bring a camera. Everything was messed up. All right, let's see here. It does look like it's going to make this new low here. So I do think that that's the way to play this. There's still this visual second entry, which I do think is valid. I just think that a lower high would have been a little bit nicer there. There is a failure here. There's a first entry, second entry short failure, but it doesn't really set up exactly how you want it. It is kind of nice because it goes down and then goes above here, but I just don't know. You don't know that it's going to run up like that, because I think you're still expecting a possible new low here. It just double bottom there. It didn't really create a new low. So I just think it's too risky to take that. So we got to play it safe. Keep it safe, everybody. All right, so let's see what we got here. Hey, if you're here and you haven't given the stream a like, let's get some likes going. We only got 18. We're trying to go for 50, man. We are way off on our goal today. But hopefully we get it. And we're trying to get 7 more subscribers to get to 5405. All right, let me make sure I didn't miss any commentary or questions. Give me a second here to take a look, just to make sure that I didn't miss anything. All right, let's see. All right, does anybody have any questions? Go ahead and drop them in the chat. If so, we're just going to watch the market here, see if we get anything forming. It looks like we're going to make a new low here. Yeah, sorry about that, Project Panic. My keyboard is super loud. I should have muted there. I just wanted to respond to somebody real quick. I got the... Also, because I switched the mic when we started, it's being real sensitive right now. Here, I'm going to see if I can fix it real quick. Hold on one second. I don't know, the keyboard or the mic's being weird. It's just kind of how it is. Sorry everybody if it's kind of weird today, but that's just what it is. I don't want to. Can we take? Oh, someone's asking. Can we take a failed second entry long if it forms now? Failed second entry long. Oh, to the short. I see what you're saying. To go short. I mean, it's possible. It's possible, but I just think that I definitely think it's risky because, just because of like how it's forming and how low it's already gone. You probably asked this when it was over here, which that would have been a better time to do it, like off the EMA or something, because it does look like this channel is a little bit wider. It's just trying to make a new low here. So, but at this point, it's moved too far, I think, to take it. All right, D, you asked, what is my entry signal as far as candle pattern above and below the drawn parallel trend lines? There's a lot of different things that I use for my patterns. So I don't know exactly what you mean. I mean, like, it's not like I don't have just like one strategy. It's price action based on a lot of different types of formations. So like, for example, here, when we got this close outside new high, if we got a lower high here with a bearish candle that qualified, then that would have been a nice short. We end up getting a first entry here. And then if we did get a second entry long that failed here below the EMA, that would have been nice, but it doesn't really happen. It forms kind of almost right there, but it doesn't quite give you the setup. I think that was a good call though. Ultimate Shinobi. I just wasn't looking at it at the moment when it was happening, but it would have been decent if it formed up here, but it didn't form up here. Like what you would have wanted here is this red bar to come up, maybe tap the EMA and reverse into a really bearish candle. Then it would have been nice. All right. Yeah, D, I have a lot of rules that I follow. So like the signal bar has to follow certain qualifications and all that. So if you haven't checked out any of my stuff yet, then let me just show you. So on my YouTube channel, if you go here and you go to videos and you scroll down a little bit, you'll find that I have a 4-hour course right here. And this 4-hour course has actual sections from my paid course. And then I have this NinjaTrader Ultimate Setup Guide that is for people to set up the free version of NinjaTrader. And it's only 23 minutes long. And that's like to set up the free version without having to pay for anything. So if you check those out, you'll have a lot more of an idea of how I look at the market and the strategies. And then, of course, everything else I teach is in my paid program for $99 a month. And that's where like my full course is. Everything is in here. And like today we're actually doing a masterclass on trend lines that'll be also related to the strategy. So I can't possibly explain all of it here, but it's not exactly that, D. It's kind of, it's not exactly, it's not exactly that, no. There's a lot more to it than just like simple close outside trend line, lower high. Like there's more to it. It's based on like the legs of correction, how it's moved, what we're expecting based on the wider trend lines and the bigger moves overall, where we are with relation to the range. There's a lot of factors that go into it. It's not like a simple, it's not like a simple ABC formula. When you're a price action scalper like me, there's a lot of context that you are looking at throughout the whole session. Hopefully that answers your question though. That's why I was trying to show you the free course, because it's like, it's just like, that's a 4-hour course. I can't possibly explain it all in just like a minute or two, but it's all in there, or a lot of it's in there. And then the rest of it is in the paid community program. Okay. And then, C Mulligan, good to see you. Good to see you in the chat. You asked, with one contract, what's a realistic target per day with ES? I think it depends on how many trades you take and how you manage those trades. So I'm going to actually spend a little bit of time right now, because this is a perfect segue, into talking about how you can manage runners and how you can manage your take profits. So there's a lot of different ways that you can approach it. And so let's spend a little bit of time talking about this, because I told the paid community today in Discord that we were going to talk about this. In my strategy, it works best most of the time if you're trading with at least 5 contracts or more. And the reason I say that is that when you get to 5 contracts, you can scalp 4 and leave 1 runner, which means you can scalp about 80% of your target or contracts in your first take profit, and then leave a second take profit as a runner. Or if you trade with more, like let's say you trade with 6 contracts or 7, you can still scalp almost all of them and just leave 1 runner. There's different ways that you can do it, right? There's different ways that you can do it. All right, let me see here. Hold on, I just want to respond to this. Oh, D, so you did check out some of the free course. You've been trading the tick charts. Oh, so you're trying to trade from airplanes. Okay, well that is hard. I don't know how reliable that would be. I'd be nervous about getting into a trade and getting the connection to cut out. So I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that one. That sounds a little bit dangerous, but hey, shout out to you for giving it a go. Yeah, man. I think that if you really want to learn my strategy though, like the paid course is the way to go, and it's only $99 to do a month. So, that's what it is. Harshu, you asked, where am I from? I live out in the U.S. in Oregon. So I live on the west coast of the Pacific Northwest, out in the mountains. All right, so let me get back to talking about this. So when you're scalping like 80% and leaving a runner, it's kind of like this. Think of it like this. So let's get our risk reward tool out. Right? Let's get our risk reward tool out. And we're just going to use this bar as our example. I'm going to zoom way in here. We're going to use this as our example here. So let me just change this to like a smaller target. Okay. So let's say that's our level, right? And then we're going to do another risk reward. Well, actually, we're just going to leave that. So when I'm scalping, what I'm doing here is I'm putting like if I took this short, I'm going to enter 1 tick below the bar going short. My stop loss goes 1 tick above, and then I scalp a little profit here. Now, after I scalp the profit, my stop loss will move to break even. And I am going to answer your question, C. Mulligan, in this. So my stop loss will move to right here, to break even at that point. And now the rest of it is just a runner that I might get more out of it. And I can move my stop as we go. I can even move my stop down here if I want after it goes down, and then it comes back and stops me for a little more profit. Or I could let it try to run. Now there's a few ways to manage this. Now if I left it as a runner, you could see I could have I could have rode it all the way down to the low and gotten out there. In which case, my runner would have made 6.5 points, or maybe 6.25. Call it 6 points on the runner, right? That's nice. I could also have just trailed the EMA, right? And then I would have gotten out right there. That's not ideal, obviously, because you're not going to get as much, but you still got 2 points on the runner if you did that. There's different ways to play it, right? Now, when you're trading this, what you want to be careful of is when you're playing runners, you can do it a few ways. You can just leave your stop loss and scalp out profit and leave your stop loss and let the trade play out, and then you choose when you want to close the position or move your stop. You can do that. You can do what I do, which is have it automatically move to break even after it scalps out. You can also have it move to break even +1 to give you a little tiny profit. You could also have it move to like just a little bit up, so you scalp out and it moves a little bit up, right? You could do that if you don't want to leave it all the way up here to have it come all the way back against you. There's different ways to play it. Now, another thing you can do, and this goes for you, C. Mulligan, you can either scalp out the whole thing. If you're trading with one contract, you can either just scalp the whole thing and not do runners, or once it moves a certain amount in your favor, you can just move your stop to break even and treat the whole thing like a runner. Now, what I'll say is this. Your mileage is going to vary. Your mileage may vary. If you guys know what that means, that like your mileage may vary, or if you're in a different country, your kilometers may vary. Basically, you have to figure out what works best for you with your testing. Sometimes, for some people, it works best to do what I do, which is move your stop to break even and leave it. I used to do break even +1, but the problem with that is that a lot of times it comes back and stops you. Now, you see, if you did that here, you would have been fine. It wouldn't have stopped you on this candle. But there's so many instances where it does. And if we go and look at some of the trades today, you'll see that, right? So like this one, it stopped me at break even. So break even +1 would have been nice there, right? Because at least I would have been fine. But also, if I would have left my stop up here, then I would have had a big runner here, or at least a big enough runner. And I could have let this whole thing play out. So if I didn't move my stop there, I would have had a bigger runner. On these ones, this one, I think that you could get a runner. You did get a runner on this one because of the way that this one formed, it came lower first and then went higher. So it would have filled you on your scalp, I think, as this one was closing, and then it ran up. So this one would have got you a runner either way. This one, you wouldn't have gotten a runner, I don't think, trying to play break even +1. But break even, I think, either. I think you got to leave this one. So you have to look at these in real time and see how they move. This one wouldn't have got you a runner at break even or break even +1 because it came back. But leaving your stop loss would have worked, but that's risky there because it already made a new high. So you have to go and look at how the candle actually forms and take note of how that goes. All right. Yeah, Harshu, I trade during the open, but not like live streaming it. During the open, I'm trading with my community. Like basically I'm trading and then I post the updates in the community. So during the live session, during the market open, I'm trading and just posting screenshots of the chart right here. So you can see here, there. You can see I'm posting the screenshots of the chart as it develops. So, and then I'm talking to everybody in Discord during the session. So that's how that works. So we are trading, it's just not live streaming. And then I try to be super locked in while I'm during the session. Okay. D, you asked what session do I trade? I trade the open, and yeah, the open is the best from, I think. The morning session from the open is the best. All right, let me go back here. Yeah, Matt, you caught it. Matt caught it. I was trying to say shot and then chart at the same time, and it came out in an unfortunate short. Oh, classic. Classic. All right, Ultimate Shinobi, you've been into price action for a few months. When you stick to the rules, it works really well. You really appreciate me sharing this. It's super helpful. Hey, thank you for that. That's great. That's great. and you're wondering why share it instead of keeping it to myself. You know, it's not super likely, but if everyone started using it, wouldn't it maybe stop working? I don't think so. I don't think that because there's a hugely subjective element to it. Because when you're drawing trend lines and like looking at the price action the way that we do, there's a major amount of subjectivity that goes into it, and nuance that, like, I don't think most people end up getting it right anyway. But the other thing is this, it's like, I think that at the end of the day, pretty much every strategy out there that has like some sort of an edge, it only works if the trader like actually is disciplined. And with most strategies out there, like, there's many strategies that I think work, right? Not just this one. This isn't the only strategy that works. I think that there's many strategies out there that actually work and have a slight edge, but most traders can't take advantage of the edge because psychologically they don't do the work necessary to be successful. And so I think that's just the harsh reality of it. And we know that because, like, there's data out there, like, when I was reading that book, The Best Loser Wins, and he was talking about how there was like this report that came out of like all these big like companies and like how many wins their traders had versus losses and all this stuff in their data. And they found that most of the traders actually won more than they lost, but their losses were huge because they would like double down on losses and do things that you shouldn't be doing. Like, they wouldn't let their stop loss trigger. They'd keep adding to the position and then have a huge loser and all that sort of stuff. Well, it goes to show you that there are people that can look at the market and pick a higher win rate than a lower one, but they just don't trade with the proper management style that allows them to catch runners and to do things the right way. So there's clearly a lot of strategies that can work, but even with all that data, over 90% of the people weren't making money. It was like something like well over 90% weren't making money over the long term, and it's because they weren't able to manage themselves. So I think that's kind of how that goes. Honestly, the other thing is, because this is like, there's a subjective element to this, I just think a lot of people will get it wrong. And I've seen that over time. There's been a lot of people over time who've like tried to like make the strategy work for them by just like watching a few of my streams. And then they're sending me a bunch of questions about like, why isn't this working? Why isn't this working? And then I tell them, look, you haven't even gone through the proper course. Like, you aren't looking at the market the right way. It takes many months to really learn this. And a lot of people have to be dedicated for that. But I just am not generally a believer that like your edge needs to be like safeguarded at all costs. Otherwise, it will not work anymore. I think that that's only true if your edge is something that's not sustainable. This type of trading, if you look back at charts from like 30 years ago, it still works. So that tells me that it's based on the way that market psychology is and how people move, two-legged moves and all this sort of stuff. It just seems like it's always going to work. I don't think that, it can't really be coded into an algorithm. It's not something that like some hedge fund is going to be able to just like, you know, create in a way that makes any sense, because there's a subjective element to how you look at the price action and the charts and the nuance of it that takes time to develop. And that's also why I haven't coded it into like a specific robot, because it can't be done. And believe me, I've tried. I have tried. That tells me that it's always going to keep working. So that's the way I look at it. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Maybe I'm wrong and it's like dumb to share it, but I don't think so. Yeah, for sure. You're welcome. You're welcome, everybody. Matt. We got to give Matt, you know, I think there's something here. Hold on. We got to give Matt the award. We're giving Matt the GOAT. You're the GOAT of the chat award today. Yeah, for sure. Ultimate Shinobi. And hey, maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe this will not work at some point because everybody will be doing it, but I doubt it. Highly doubt it. And you can see that just by like, you know, because you can make the same argument, right? Like, there's other systems that are way more popular than what I do that have a huge following and traders who have shown that it works over time. And yet they still share their system and it still works for them. So, I mean, that's the way I look at it. I forget the guy's name. I don't like, I don't generally like or agree with like the ICT strategies, but there's some trader, I forget who like made like a insane amount of money, like $2 million or something crazy like that from a prop payout, or it's something weird like that. And that person trades a system that is traded by like millions of people, and it still works for them. So I think that, and it probably just has to do with the person is probably just a really good chart reader, and there's a discretionary subjective element to how they look at the market that is their edge that a lot of people don't realize. It's like you have your edge for how you look at the market, but then your discretion is a secondary edge that sets you apart. That is actually true, Daryl. That's true as well. The more people that are doing it, maybe the more momentum it actually gets. So that's actually a valid point. I like that. All right, let's get some more likes going. We only got 26. We were going for 50. We are slacking, fam. Slacking. If you're here and you haven't liked the stream yet, please hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. We were trying to get to 5405 subscribers. I mean, man, I thought we would at least get to 54. But we are slacking, so we'll see what happens. I think people are mad at me that I didn't stream yesterday. not the people in my paid community. Everybody knew I was on vacation. I got one more vacation that's actually coming up in September. I have like an actual vacation in September where I'm going to be basically taking a week off. I'll talk to everybody about that. But I have during that Labor Day week, I'm going to be taking off that week because I'm going to a wedding, and I'm just going to actually take a vacation, like a proper one. Just take a break from trading, spend some time on the beach, just kind of do my thing. Haven't done like a real vacation in a while, so that's going to be a real one. All right, let's see. It's all in the school calendar, by the way, too. Like, it's in there. It's labeled in there. I think here, I'll show you. I think in the school calendar, I got it somewhere in here, I'm pretty sure. Like, you'll see when you get to September, Nick on vacation for that week. That Monday is Labor Day, so the market, I think, is closed anyway. And then I'm just going to I'm not going to trade that week. I'm just going to take that off. I'm actually going to be traveling. I'll be on the East Coast for a wedding, so that'll be fun. Visiting a bunch of family and spending time on the beach and all that. Should be a good time. But yeah, I was thinking about trying to do a little bit of trading and stuff on it. The problem is it'll be the East Coast, the time zone. It would just mess up the whole day if I tried to like do it. It's not early enough in the morning to where I can do it, so I'm just gonna take that time. But I'll still be checking in with messages, responding to people on school, giving feedback. I just won't be trading and doing like the streams that week and stuff. So right now we made a new low here, close outside new low on this down channel. We did make a new low there. That's all played out. There's a first entry, second entry short with a lower high here. I don't think that you really want to take anything in here. There's a first entry, second entry long forming right now, which we do need a new high on this little channel, unless the channel was tighter, clearly close outside new high, lower high. But I do think that we just got to be patient here. This ended up not playing out down here. So now we did come down to this low. There's no real level there. This is just kind of bouncing now. We could draw. Interesting little spot right there. This does line up somewhat decently with these actual lows right there. Like, this almost looks like a new low, and now we're kind of finding support at that level. So maybe we'll keep this line here. You can see we are forming a second entry long here. It's right at the midline of the range, which is a dangerous place to take a trade in my experience and opinion. As you can see, if you zoom way out, this is literally the midline of today's range from this high. It's exactly the midline. This looks like a failed breakout. So I just think it's dangerous. It didn't actually trigger. Might trigger now. Let's see. Let's see. If you're here, welcome. please give the stream a like. Let's get it out to more people. We've got our paid community masterclass coming up really soon in about less than 30 minutes. So anybody that wants to join the masterclass, all you have to do is join the paid community, sign up for a month, and you can come check it out. So looking forward to having everybody on there. You'll see it in there in the link tree, in the description and everything. And the masterclass will be on trend lines and trend channels. I think it'll probably be about an hour. I think we'll probably do about an hour, depending on how it goes. I think we'll see how much time we actually need. Might be a little less, a little more. Just depends on how much we need. Okay, there's the second entry, but you see you get the inside bar, so you can't really take it anyway. You don't want to take that with an inside bar. What's my favorite food? My favorite food is just beef. Straight up beef. Ground beef, ribeye steaks. Beef is my favorite. So I'd say ground beef, ribeye steaks. I like high fat. So that's what I would say. What song is this? Hang on a second. What song are we listening to? I forgot about this song. It started at a weird spot here. It's not the song I wanted to listen to. Give me a moment to change the beats here. Let's go with... I recorded a new track while I was on vacation. I just haven't uploaded it yet. I actually recorded one on my Pygmy, my other hand pan. But yeah, I'm into beef. I'm a big fan of ground beef and high fat cuts like ribeye steak. Ribeye is my favorite cut. Let me know in the chat. What is your favorite food? Mine is hands down beef. Grass-fed, grass-finished beef. Yeah, for sure. I know. Maybe I'm getting hungry. I need to. That reminds me. I got to pull out some beef for later. If anybody has any questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. We're pretty far away from a stream target today, so I don't know if we're going to hit that today, but that's okay. Maybe tomorrow, maybe Friday will be the charm, you know, because we're not going to have much time left to keep doing the stream. We were trying to get to 50 likes, but we're pretty far off. Cool. All right, good question here from Emmanuel. So I scalp a dynamic target. So it's not like, how do I say? It depends on what's happening in the current price action. Like right now, the price action is such that my scalp target for this would be 5 ticks. So I would go for 5 ticks. So 1.1 or 1.25 points. So I'd go for 5 ticks right now. Earlier today, I was going for 5 ticks. Earlier before that, I was going, like in this point of the day, I was going for 6 ticks. It depends on the actual current price action movement, the size of the candles, the ATR. There's a lot of stuff involved with that, but it's mostly based on the most recent size of the candles and the ATR. Now the ATR is increasing right now, so if it goes up a little bit more, I would start going for 6 ticks. And then if it goes up more, I'd go for 7 and then 8, and it varies like that. And that's how I do it. It's dynamic based on what's happening in the day. So it actually fluctuates throughout the day for me based on the most recent price action and how it's developing. So hopefully that answers it. And I go over that in pretty good detail in the course and in a lot of like the community stuff that I have in the course and the recorded calls. And I'm actually working on an update to it that will make it even more based on just pure mathematics. So that's something that I'm working on currently. so that you don't have to like calculate it yourself. I'm working on like a tool that makes it easier to figure out what your scalp target should be based on the current action. So that's something that's in development right now that I've been working on. But right now would be a good time to go for 5 ticks, in my opinion, instead of 4. But then it's almost at the point where I'd start going for 6 ticks. It's almost there. It's basically right about there. Candles are getting bigger. I don't use micros. I trade the minis. So you can see here, ES. I don't trade micros. I trade minis. The ES contract, I don't trade the MES. However, I do have a thing in my course that I'll show you. Somewhere in here, right here, I have this video that's about setting up the MES on the ES chart for people who want to do that. And that's a whole thing about how you can actually set up the MES on the ES chart to trade it. But yeah, with the ES, it fluctuates on how many contracts I'm trading. It'll be anywhere from like 10 to 20. Depends on like how many trades I've taken for the day sometimes, like stuff like that, what time of the day it is, what the volatility looks like. There's a lot of variables in there. It's just gonna, yeah, it fluctuates. Sometimes it might be less. Sometimes it's only 5, you know. Sometimes I'll go down and lower it to even just like 5. And that's how I do it. But yeah, like earlier when I took a trade and I took a screenshot, that was a 10 contract trade. And then with if I was going to trade the micros, I don't even know what I would use there, because really, like, I don't like the way that the micros add up a lot more commissions. I think they're useful if you're trading like maybe no more than 10 or 20 of them. What the heck? What just happened on my chart? Everyone seeing that? Sorry, something broke on the chart. I'll have to figure that out later. My subscriber count just broke. That was weird. So I don't use auto. Here, I'll show you how I'm set up. Here, let me pull up. Let me change the ATM strategy here to one of these other ones here. So right now, like I said, 5, I wanted to change to the 5 one. This is how I would do it with 10 contracts. So my stop loss would be at 16. 8 of the contracts would go for a 5-tick profit target. The other 2 would just be set to something arbitrary, like 32 ticks. And then for my stop loss on those, I would, at 6 ticks, they would just go to 0, so to break even. So once it ticks through my order at 5 ticks and it goes through that order, it would move my stop to break even, and then I manually trail the stop loss myself. Oh, that's interesting, Matt. Yeah, that's interesting. So you have, it places the entry a tick above the candle, stop a tick below. Okay, that's good. That's the way that I enter anyway. And then you have a TP based on a percentage of that. That's interesting. That's interesting. How's that working for you? Let me know. Hopefully it's working well. Sorry, I don't know what happened to my subscriber count button. It's like totally scuffed. Oh, wait, is it back? It's back. I don't know what happened there. It was totally scuffed. But it's back now. Hey, we got 30 likes in here. We're trying to get to 50. I don't know if we can do it because I got to go in about 15 minutes to do the masterclass that I'm doing in the paid community. So, can we get 20 more likes in 15 minutes? It's a race to the finish. Let's see. Let's see if we can get a stream goal. Can we get a few more subscribers? Let's see. Yeah, the micros do charge a lot of commission. So, I think that they can work. I just think that once you start getting to the point where you're trading like 20 of them, it adds up so much in your commission cost. You have to be careful. Like if you're trading the micros, I just think that you're better off not doing a break-even stop. You're better off doing break-even +1 on your runner, because the commissions will just eat in your profit a lot. That's cool, Matt. Yeah, that's cool. Is it like, so you have like a, is it some sort of automated add-on, or do you do it based on like an ATM strategy? Just curious. Yeah, I agree, Daryl. I think that's what most people say that do it. I think also, like I said, if you're doing runners, you don't want to get a break even on the MES because the commission cost is so high that it just cuts into a lot of your profit. So I think like when you're trading the MES, your break even runner has to probably be break even +1 for it to pencil out, which is also hard because then it comes back and stops you a lot of the time, which is not ideal. We are at 5399 subscribers. Hey, maybe we'll get to 5400 today. I was hoping that we would. So if you're here and you haven't subscribed, definitely subscribe to the channel. Our goal is 5405 subscribers today and 50 likes. We're at 32. It's good to see some people popping into the chat here. We're stuck in this little tight range kind of zone right here right now. Nothing that significant here. Price action has slowed down a bit. Yeah, I don't use an auto trail. I manually trail it. So I just showed you my settings. This is my actual settings that I use. Like I have a bunch of different ATM strategies, but this one is based on going for 5 ticks. So 10 contracts going for 5 ticks. Stop loss here this is just a default stop loss, but I move the stop loss to where it to 1 tick above or below the signal bar. So like if I entered a trade, that I would move it. And then my first target is this target. And then my second target, once the profit goes into 6 ticks there, it moves my stop loss to break even. And then I just manually move the stop loss as the trade develops. So I don't auto trail, I manually trail it myself. I manage my runner because everyone manages runners differently. Okay, cool. So you have a thing. So Matt, you have a thing that adds the buttons on the side under the other entry buttons. That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I haven't heard of that, but sounds like a pretty cool feature. Keep me posted on how it goes. That's pretty sweet. The only thing I'd be concerned about the percentage aspect of it is like if you're trading and you like happen to take a big candle, like let's say like the ATR is like a 3 right now, but for whatever reason you get a giant candle that's like 25 ticks, and then you enter the trade based on that candle, wouldn't your target maybe sometimes be too big based on how the volatility currently is? Let me know if you've had problems with that. Or if the candle's really small, like let's say you get like a 6 tick bar, wouldn't it be like way too small of a target then? For your profit? Like just let me know, because if it's based on a percentage, that sounds like it might be actually problematic. Like wouldn't that sometimes mean that your profit target's like only like 2 or 3 ticks or something? Or sometimes it's too big and then it doesn't move as far? Let me know. Personally, I like the simplicity of the way I do it. Yeah, see, I don't see why you'd want to do that, Matt, if you could just base your target on the current ATR values. Like, then you have something that's more specific. And that way, like, one candle that's big or whatever doesn't mess up the whole thing. It sounds like it's a good way to enter because it puts your stuff where it's supposed to go. But I don't really find an issue with, like, entering and moving my stuff. I mostly use cash accounts. I mostly use cash accounts. I have dabbled with the prop stuff, but I mostly just use cash. But I dabble with the prop stuff. I've had some positive experience with it, but I honestly find it to be a kind of a pain overall a lot of the times because they have all these restrictions and rules and all this other stuff that I don't have to deal with. It's hard to use them as a scalper because like as a scalper, the way that we trade with our break-even stops and all this, it cuts into some of the rules that some of the prop firms have. So, so there is that aspect, but yeah. I've been trading since 2017, so the prop firm thing wasn't even popular when I started. Do you mean like right here from this low right here? You took this triple test? Yeah, I mean, it's there. There is a triple test there from this low, but it's just, it's so sideways here. I mean, you could definitely argue for that one. You could definitely argue for it right here. I would mark it as probably a green just because it's kind of, it's just, I don't know. It's just, it hasn't been going, it wasn't really going to the highs here. It is a triple test, but you know, I don't think it's not quite making it to the highs sometimes there. So I would be a little bit concerned, but it is there. Yeah, I think that's a reasonable trade. I mean, you have a 1, 2, 3 triple test right there. Here, let me move this over. You could kind of look at it like this level right here. 1, 2, 3. So I do like that to some extent. I just think that the only thing I didn't love is that like this one tapped the level. This one swing up didn't, you know, there's a kind of a midline here. I think you have a little bit of space to the midline of the actual range. You have a little bit. You have a little bit of room to these highs. It's just a little dicey there because we kind of were getting sideways a bit. A little congested in the middle, but it's fine. I think that NinjaTrader is the best way to go because you can use NinjaTrader as your platform and your broker. That's what I use. So I think NinjaTrader is the way to go. The thing with NinjaTrader is that you only get really low fees when you have the lifetime license. But the nice thing is you can use the platform for free to make sure you like it. They just charge you a higher commission cost to use it for free. But then later on, if you really like it, you can just buy the lifetime license and you'll get better commissions. So that's the way I look at it. All right, everybody. I think we're going to wrap up the stream here. Let's see. I don't remember exactly. It's not that long ago. I mean, like, there's times where I take losses. There's also times where I've had what I would call like a lukewarm week. You know, like there was a couple weeks ago, I had 2 losses in one day, and that pretty much made the week end up not that great. It wasn't like a big red week or anything, but it was like, but I think if I remember correctly, it basically gave me just like a barely profitable week. I don't really look at it like that though. I just look at each day as a unique day because mentally, like my mentality in this is that I want to look at every trade individually. I don't really want to look at I try not to focus so much. This is just my own thing. And I don't know if this is the best approach for everyone, but I will say this is what I like to do. I don't like to spend a bunch of time thinking about I look at my stats, of course. Like I do look at them over time. I do check them out here and there, but I try not to hyper analyze it because it makes me psychologically fixated on the past. And if I do that, then I'm not in the present when I'm trading, right? Like, so for example, let's say, I'm just going to make up an example. Let's say in June, I had the best month I've ever had in my whole trading career. I'm not saying I did, but let's just say that I had 100 winners in a row, right? Let's say I had some crazy thing that's never happened to me. Let's just say that happened in June. The problem is, if I'm super obsessed with that fact, then I'm going to be then I'm going to go into July and let's say I have a loss. I'm going to be now my stats are messed up. My win rate's lower. Oh, what do I do to make this back? It's going to start to weigh on me, right? And then let's say July I have some losses. So June's my best month ever and July is my worst month I've had in 6 months. Going into August, if I'm thinking about all that and really and I'm looking at it all the time and all that, I'm going to be obsessed with whatever happens in my next trade versus being fully present with it and just accepting what is supposed to happen, right? I have to accept that I may have a loss or a win in every single trade, and be okay with it playing out as is and approach it in the present and not mess around with my like profit, not mess around with my stop loss. I need to be fully present and locked in. So in order to stay locked in, I try not to really look too much at like my weeks, week over week stats, month over month. I try to just stay present with it, and I take note of things. If I have like a day like I did a few weeks ago where I had 2 losses, then I stop and I analyze it and I realize what happened. And I already talked about that, so I'm not going to talk about what happened that day. I already talked about it so much with everybody. So I try to do that. And by doing it this way, when I have a loss here and there, it's fine, right? It's fine. Yeah, like I'm totally cool with it. It's like, all right, I have a loss, whatever. I don't let it tilt me. It doesn't freak me out. It doesn't like add on to this like accumulated freak out mode that I've had losses and I'm having a bad week or any of that. And by like staying locked into the present, it really keeps me from tilting on like a Friday or that sort of activity that happens to most traders. And that's statistically when traders do the worst, is on Fridays. And it's because they're not locked into the present and they're not looking at each trade how they should. They're paying attention too much on the past trades. So hopefully that helps answer it. But yeah, I try not to really like study that stuff because it honestly makes my trading worse if I do. And that's something to bear in mind. Like you do want to learn from your losses and your wins, and you want to analyze your trades each day so that you can learn from them. But you don't want to like be like hyper locked into like that sort of thing. Like all the stats of like, oh, what were my stats last week versus this week? Oh, like, I don't know. Like some people will probably argue against me and say that it, say that I'm wrong about that. But I'm just telling you what works for me. How I stay locked in. All right. I'm going to wrap up the stream here, everybody, because I got to go do the masterclass now with everybody. So anybody that wants to join the masterclass, you have less than 5 minutes to join the paid community. It only takes like 30 seconds to join anyway. And then you can join the masterclass. You just join, go into the calendar, and you'll see the Zoom link. So I will see everybody there, and looking forward to it. Thanks, everybody, for hopping on the stream today. I don't know why the subscriber button keeps breaking, so sorry that it looks weird on the chart, whatever that is. But anyway, I appreciate you all. Thanks for being here. I will see you all soon, and good to be back. Good to be back from my trip. Thanks, everybody.